It's that McDonald's and the Domino's Pizza are open until like, I think the pizza is open until 11 p.m. or like even by midnight, and McDonald's is up to 2 a.m. to the harbor. So we are now going into the city, and soon you're going to have a chance to see already the river Elbe. And we are going to this part of the city which is called Altona. Altona is famous for their fish market. This is happening so here on the right and the left hand side you can see the amazing Elbe River, and more there like towards this direction, that's the way towards the North Sea. So here like the cuisine and a lot of restaurants are really like devoted to fish and different kind of sea fish foods and seafoods and so on. Quite yummy, and one of the best restaurants in the whole kind of area of the harbor is like this district for kind of casual dining, but still it's very kind of hip and cool on the harbor areas. They have plenty of like cafes, bars, restaurants, but or like seafood restaurants, or like fast food seafood, yeah, so fast seafood, yeah. So it's quite nice, yeah. And it is expensive, I do have to say, and but still they have a standard, and they also have their own kind of type of salmon that is like well, not grown, but they can fish it in the North Sea. So if you do go to a restaurant, and if you're not going on the cruise and you want to go downtown or to the harbor to have dinner, you can order any seafood, and it's quite nice and fresh. So Hamburg is, from that point of view, a very good kind of food destination for people who enjoy seafood. And speaking of seafood, the biggest fish market, like in Germany, I think even in Europe, and even it's one of the oldest fish markets in Europe, is in Hamburg, and it is in the district where our hotel is located, the Altona Fish Market. And it was established in the 1713. So in the beginning of the 18th century, we had like the first fish markets still active. And unfortunately it is closed, of course, because it's even Sunday, and but it's open during the weekends, but like from 6 a.m. until noon. So that is the kind of working time of this fish market, but it is quite cool. So we will be in already see a little bit of the architecture, so you can see how modern and contemporary it is. Now we will be getting closer to this more like residential area. This is more like a business quarter over here, but you're going to see all this kind of fine brickwork. And for some people, Hamburg really kind of resonates as a kind of a cold city, and the domes that you see in the far back are a part of the St. Michael's Church. We will be going there tomorrow, so you'll have a chance to see it in person and to see the beauty of it. So and you can now see on the right hand side and also on the left the different buildings, all in the same style, and the brickwork. church, that's the dome, and on the left hand side that is the Speicherstadt, and this is like that floating part of Hamburg, which is protected by UNESCO. So some of these buildings were like granaries and or like storage units that they used to store all these nice goods that were coming into Hamburg in the like 19th century. So in the city center of well, and it's called like the Hafen city. So here, and on the cruise we will be passing in a part that kind of goes on the water around this little like floating island, and on so where we are passing now, this is like a wider city center, well, like the downtown of Hamburg. So you can see how it looks like, and also now you see there is no water in the canal, so it means it's like a lower tide or something like that. So if you are with the boat, you always have to note and check the water levels within the city, because often it can get all like dried up depending on the tide. The captain on the boat will explain better than me, because I don't understand how it works, but they know here, and also it is like living with the water and understanding how the water kind of works, as to kind of live with it. Because here in Hamburg there is more bridges than in Venice, or even in Berlin, or even in Amsterdam. I don't know if that's like the data that is correct, but more than 2,000 bridges exists in Hamburg. So a lot of bridges that people use to cross and to go above water. To the port. Our captain is waiting us in the boat, and we will going to go on the pier, and like the harbor is divided onto several kind of gates, or as they call them, bridges, and we are scheduled to come to the bridge number 6. So once we come to the bridge, we will well, I will have to look for the captain and for the boat, but either way they're somewhere around that area. And then we will go inside the boat, and as I mentioned, we will have one included drink while we are cruising along the harbor. I do have to say that maybe this optional excursion is a little bit more for the kind of male gaze, because you will have a chance to see kind of big ships and engines and stuff like that. A lot of things that I don't even know how to kind of explain and understand, but either way, it's very kind of enjoyable, and you will have a chance to see how we are so small in comparison to that harbor and to those ships that are coming within that area. So we will need approximately 20 minutes on a good day to come to the harbor, but either way the boat is not going to leave without us. So that is the plan. I do hope that you like your rooms, that that they are comfortable, that you kind of settled in, and yes, you know, I put out the poster in the lobby so you can take a photo for tomorrow, but we will be leaving at 8 to discover more like the kind of city center of Hamburg and to the main landmarks.
Is that harbor where the cruise ships come in?
Yes, yes.
Italian restaurant. It's nice to have a big land marked everything. Similar to
But they're just gigantic, and they are probably, let's like shipbuilding over here. So you can already see a little bit now when we cross the traffic light. You can see some of the big ships and their load, and like boxes and boxes that they are carrying, or how do you say, like those, yeah. So this is the whole area, and in front of us, like on the right hand side, that beautiful building with sharp pointy edges, and it looks like a crown. That is the famous Philharmonie, or their famous concert hall. And when it comes to real estate, the apartments and buildings on this part of the city, and right next to the river, they have like astronomical prices. But here it's very like lively. You see different like open bars, and in the harbor there's a lot of these kind of fish restaurants going on, and it's really like the busiest part of the city. So right here next to the river, but we're going to come on on another side, so which is better because we kind of avoided the whole kind of congestion over there. And there are some buildings that are kind of new, like apartment buildings, but literally I don't even know, like the prices of 1 square meter are, I don't know, like 30,000 euro or something like that. It's really expensive. So okay, so now on the right hand side, this is the old port dating from the 19th century. On the right hand side, this is the entry to the tunnel that takes you on the other part of the river. So you can come here with your car, and then it takes you down, like you go beneath the river, and you end up on the other side. And on the right hand side, this is the kind of old harbor and port area. So you see.
It's 7 hours. Now the water level is rising. 5:30 we had a low tide, and now the water level is going up to 5 hours, which is today at 10:30 p.m. roundabout. We reached the highest water level. And the reason why we're using the Gabi Glitscher, so Glitscher is the name of my boss, and he owns 11 of these boats, and that's a family business, a tradition to give the boats like a single name. And these are all his family members. So we got Gabi Glitscher, Claudia Glitscher, his sister, Ursula Glitscher, her mother, and it's a big family. And of course there are bigger boats offering a harbor pleasure trip, but they're not able to show you the canal area. That's the reason why I need to hurry up, because the water is going up fast, and the bridges in the canal area, they're lower compared to the landing bridges. Here on your right hand side, you can see the Cap San Diego, which is a museum ship. It was built in the 1960s here by our local company Hamburg Süd, and it was active for around about 20 years, going from here to South America, also known as the White Swan of the South Atlantic. And now you can visit the Cap San Diego every day as a museum ship, and like 3 or 4 times a year, museum ship goes out to the North Sea for like events. So we have 4 museum ships, and that's the only one which is still active going out. There's another museum ship called Rikmas, but it's currently in our shipyards, in our dry dock, which we'll have a look later on. And now we want to get to the historical area of the port, the warehouse district, which is the canal area, over 100 years old. And only the small boats, we call these boats Barkasse, that's the German word for it, motor launch. Here you can see an older version, the Otto Abich. These boats, they're called Barkasse, and they're all built in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. Gabi Glitscher is a new boat, it was built in 2008. But these small boats called Barkasse, they were all built in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, and so on. And they're known for their longevity because they're made of thick steel. And at the point of time, of course, during the Second World War as well, they were using these small boats to transport the dock workers to the other side of the river. And now we are using these boats for our tourism, because with these small boats, the captain can take us to the whole port, including the canal area, and offer you like a unique perspective. Take you close to the bigger boats. We will want to show you the container terminal later, the industrial area. And now we are getting inside the warehouse district, which is a UNESCO World Heritage since 2015. German word for Speicherstadt. That's known as warehouse city. And during low tide, so at 5:30, 1870s, 80s, and we had to create like a free trade zone area with our terrace. So that's the reason why they created here this warehouse district. So they joined the German Empire, and these buildings are standing on oak piles. And some of the canals are closed, and there's also some construction work going on because these buildings are over 100 years old, and they're standing all on oak piles. And you can see the red brick construction here, and because of the danger of collapsing, some canals are closed. We have some cranes here swimming pontoons. Sometimes there are even divers in the canals as well, and that's the reason why some of them are closed, and they want to stabilize the buildings back again. And there are over 2,600 bridges here located in Hamburg, and a lot of them are here in the Speicherstadt area. Today, I just asked the captain, we can get to the water castle, which is one of the oldest buildings here and also one of the most photographed buildings. So if you put the Speicherstadt into Google, there's always one picture, which is the water castle. So we need to get there.
So has the water level changed in the past like 2 hours? Yes. Because when we came in, she pointed out that it was dry. And now it's not anymore.
So there's a 4-meter difference between low tide and high tide. In the first 1 hour of the flow, we get around about 1 to 1.5 meters. We always have the 3 spot of the biggest ports in Europe. So the first one and the second spot goes to Rotterdam and Antwerp, so in Holland and Belgium, because they're above the 10 million container handling mark. And in 2022, we had around about 8.8 million container handling. And last year, it was like economic downfall, recession, increased gas prices, the Nord Stream 2 blow up, and everything that happened in the Ukraine invasion, and so on. Our container handling decreased to 7.6 here. So now we are basically near the city center. So now it's the time to take a picture because here is like one of the most photographed buildings here.
From the windows, there's no window open. Here's a window open.
Got stuck in the Zollkanal area. The water level was too low, and he was able to call another colleague, and he came in with an empty boat to pick up all the people because it's your own failure as a captain. And if you're like on a boat cruise with 50 people, and you get stuck with your boat here or you hit one of these bridges, it's your own risk, it's your fault. And if the fire department gets involved, the rest of like 50 below boats. So he was lucky he was able to call a captain, and he came with a different boat with less draft. Because these boats have a draft of around about 120 meters. And as I mentioned, round about, I think right now we have a water level of 3 meters here inside. So there's like a rule that you have to wait 1 hour after low tide so you can get into the canal. But they're all also basically destroying the bottom of the sea, all the plants and animals, the fauna and flora, and that's the reason why they don't like it yet. But Greenpeace, they have an office here located in the Schweinfurt area. So in front of us is the International Maritime Museum, where you can visit every day, and they offer over 3,000 years of ship history. And you can also see different sizes of propeller and some torpedoes as well. And there's also a submarine, a Soviet submarine behind the fish market. We'll have a look later at the end of the tour. So here you can see old submarines from the First World War that were used, and different side of ship propellers. And you'll also have a look at some of the shipyards, dockyards as well, traditional dockyards where all the warships were built for the First and the Second World War. The famous warships just like the Bismarck and Fock. And now we are leaving the Schweinfurt area. So the Internationales Maritimes Museum, there is a restaurant located next to it, and they also have like their own ferry station. And next to the ferry station is the Greenpeace headquarters. October, so we're still waiting for the opening of the Westview shopping mall. It was delayed construction several times. With the glass construction and the private brewery. Goes from the land just down the river on Nevada is the place where airplane manufacturer Airbus They got their headquarters over there. And now we want to get to the industrial area. We are now in front of the Norderberg. So there's the A50 ship here for the German Navy. And behind the A52 is the Rigma Vigmas. So the Rigma Vigmas, a sailing ship, which is a museum ship. The berth is located next to the Cap San Diego, next to the White Museum ship, next to the landing bridges. And like once a year, the Rigmas need to get into the radar to do some maintenance work. So the Rigmas was built here and not in Hamburg, but was built in Bremen basically over 100 years ago. So history about the Rigmas. It was active going from Hamburg to China carrying rice and bamboo for a couple of years. So it's over 100 years old. During the First World War, the Portuguese captured the Rigmas and they gave it to the British Army as a war aid during the First World War. And then, after the First World War, the British returned the sailing ship.
She's a cyclops! Zoe.
So on the right-hand side, now you can see two chambers of the Ellerholzschleuse. One of them is open, the one on the left is closed. Ellerholzschleuse, a difficult German name pronounce, was built in 1906, over 100 years old. They are here in the port of Hamburg. We have several of these locks, and they're all over 100 years old. And for example, the Rugenberger Schleuse, which is in the back of the port, was closed, or one chamber of the lock was closed for 2 years because of construction work. And now the city is budgeting to. And so now we are getting inside the chamber, and we need to wait until the door here in the back closes. So every day high tide and low tide, which means with the flow, with every flow, all the dirt, sand, and mud gets back to the port, also inside the container terminal, and which is difficult for the big cargo ships. And I was talking about the drop and the water depth, and if there's too much sand, dirt, and mud coming with the flow, the big cargo ships, they get stuck in the terminal. So that's the reason why we got the Ellerholzschleuse here, which stops the flow of the water. So we are waiting now. If you turn around now, the doors are closing. It's closing. It's closing. It's closing. And now we need to wait with the door in front of us. So sometimes it's like 20 seconds from here or 40 seconds. But sometimes it can take up to 5 minutes.
Like a lock. There's no actual drop, like a lock. Okay, that's cool.
That's the reason why we
It's
call it
just controlling the
Stromsperre.
flow of the
Yes,
water.
exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. I like
Because now we want to get, or we're getting inside the container terminal Tollerhall, and there's a 400-meter cargo ship, one of the biggest ships. We need to be careful with the drop of these cargo ships. So now we have to take a break. We are waiting, the door in front of us opening. We need to wait for the green lights. Leave the lock. So decades ago, there were no like red light and green lights, so all the ships were used. That's because of safety and insurance. So talking about the economy of Germany, as you know, Germany is called the economic engine of Europe, and the last year difficult situation. We had the COVID supply chain crisis here, so we had a lot of empty containers here, a lot of big containers waiting China. And on the other side, we had the the Ukraine-Russia invasion and with the increased gas prices here. You guys heard about the Nord Stream 2 blow up, and of course, people was last year or 2 years ago here, and it was reported in the news media like it's fine. But a couple of months later, because of the Ukraine invasion and the gas prices, started to realize, oh, there's as well, and not a good idea to let the price stay 35%. So if you want to, they demand a strategic partnership. Now they all have a length of 400 meters. They have a beam of 62 meters. The capacity is now the question mark here. The biggest cargo ship that can take up to 24,200 something containers. A couple of months ago, the biggest cargo ship was 23,300. I was talking about the depth of the river, which is around about 40 meters. And I was talking about these dredging boats driving around here, doing the dredger work to increase the river depth to 4 meters. So our goal is to have like a 17 or 18 meter river depth. So these huge cargo ships, they are able to reach the port at any time, independent of the tide, and also fully loaded. Right now, they can only reach the port like with only like 14 meters. So they're basically working as a vehicle cleaner, and they head then to the North Sea where they can drop off a load and come back and repeat the process. But you're fighting against nature, and it's expensive and it's taking longer than expected. And because with every flow, all the sand, dirt, and mud comes back into the port. And there's another warship in there. 2 warships, so there are 5 warships, 2 F-65, 66, 67, 68, 69, and they all have names of German states. So here you can see Project Alibaba. Why it's called Project Alibaba? Here you can see a beautiful luxury yacht. Why it's called Project Alibaba?
Project Amazon Escape.
So Lösen, they got their headquarters in Bremen. So the yacht was still under construction, but I don't know. Somehow one of the dock was not damaged, but there was water coming out, and the bow of the ship hit the door of the dock and was damaged. So they had to take the rest of the vehicle and finish the So there's a yacht here around the corner. It has a length of 115 meters. Again, the big cargo ship 400 meters, the corvette 90 meters, because the measurement. And here the one Luna, which is here around the corner, beautiful yacht, a length of 150. But the poor guy Abramovich, he owns several mega yachts. They're a lot bigger. Eclipse has a length of 160 meters. He was like, nah, I don't like it anymore. He sold it to his friend. His friend's name is Mr. Ahmedov. He's not from Russia, he's from Azerbaijan. But he took this yacht, and it is one of the biggest dry docks here in Europe. So also big cruise ships just like the Queen Mary 2, there are also sometimes went in there.
How do they get onto those?
So now we are next to the fish market auction hall. And now please have a look. It's for like 1.5 years without getting noticed during the Cold War, because it has like a 9 or 10 centimeter rubber over on a steel hull, so you can't, or it was in the 1980s, they were not able to detect it. See the the ferry ships, which you can use with the public transport taking. They are going back and forth in the river. And now we are getting back to the landing bridges.
Okay, so we are now leaving the port.
We're like at 8:30 But this is July. The hotel, but the chef is going off sick.
I was like, that's what I'm getting so small.
So we're going to take what they said and go to McDonald's in China. If McDonald's is a good steak.
It was so cold on that boat.
Fish restaurants.
They kind of managed to kind of close the water and have this area here that is much more calm, so there's no waves, so it is a lake, but it is an artificial one. And so in the far back you can see the beautiful city hall. So we are already seeing like the spires and the towers of the city hall, and you can see this nice tree above us with paper lampions. So it's quite well, it's not really green, I have to say, because what about the plastic and everything that is going to fall in? discovered, and that is why this etymological research of different toponyms and geographic names of rivers or areas or something like that are very important, because you can know who were the first settlers in an area. So here in Lubeck, those were Slavic tribes. So the first kind of houses that were of course not designed and did not have a structure as like a serious city, those were like first Slavic tribes that settled in. And how we know that is because the word the lub in Slavic and Proto-Slavic languages means love. Like the root of the word lub in Slavic languages is love. So someone who was very in love or loved the territory, who knows, they were the ones who kind of named this kind of part Lubeck or Lub something, and then later on it became Lubeck, but the root stayed. The St. Jacob's Church, all the churches that you're going to see are Lutheran, and also they are, and the whole city is more or less with this kind of Gothic style, and very kind of, again, you will see the brickwork similar to what we had in Hamburg, but the old town here is like dating from the 12th century, 13th century, and there was a percentage of Lubeck that was destroyed in the Second World War, so they kind of restored and recovered the city to its former glory. So now when you walk, you have truly the marzipan, like a chocolate store, so you can go there. They also have like a little marzipan museum that you can visit if you're like into that thing. But what is also interesting is how the marzipan production really came to be, as this a company that is making, you probably know, and already you know the name because you can buy them in supermarkets all around the world, but it's very hard to pronounce it in German, so I'm not even going to try. So you will see it and you will see the logo, and I'm sure some of you probably will recognize that you saw it in some of the stores. And then the other two domes that you see, the two spires, that is the St. Mary Church, so we will be going into that direction. So both churches are very close by, and you will have a chance to like walk to both of those. And I think they so you can start getting ready. You can leave your money, whatever, hats, whatever you need. So in front of us you can see the medieval entry gate that I was telling you about. That is the structure, the building on the left hand side, which is now the museum. So I would advise that we walk, and we will just go quickly like to the old market square, and from there you will have free time. So in case you want to come back and take a lot of selfies beneath the gate, you can do that, of course, and I encourage all the selfies that you want to take on this trip. But yes, so just to
There's always like the morning, so it's just like showing on the wind how it's down through
no alcanza la cámara.